Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. We're back to the round-robin story, DC Challenge. So, how to sum up the story so far? Yeah, a full summary is just not gonna happen. There is too much to cover as each new creative team per issue just adds more and more characters into the mix, and this issue will be no different. I suppose this series is really useful for introducing just the sheer breadth of characters that are in the DCU, from the science heroes like Darwin Jones, to the cosmic like Adam Strange, to the more historical like the Viking Prince. And a lot of these guys are super obscure. Some never having made appearances in other media, nor a lot of appearances post-crisis. But for now, here's where things stand. The planet Rann is under siege by mystical beings, and several heroes who had gone there via Zeta Beam have unfortunately been teleported back to Earth. The aforementioned Darwin Jones, along with Bobo the Detective Chimp, Dr. 13, Jimmy Olsen, and a guy named Perkins, are all trapped in some kind of other dimension along with the ghostly Deadman. They were attempting to stop more demonic beings, some of whom decided to print in the Daily Planet that Clark Kent was Superman. However, despite all the magic stuff happening, what was the bigger deal for most of Earth was a massive alien invasion starting in Metropolis. They also captured a bunch of alien heroes like Soups, declaring them traitors for being allied with humans. So even though most of these people are different species, it's only humans who are gross, and the rest of the universe is united against us. Yeah, that checks out. Let's dig into DC Challenge number 5 and see how we resolve this.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. What's with these awkward subjects? What's all this art so rubbish? To anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he is a man, punch, sporadically a grouch. Linkara, he has his own spaceship, but he's always on his couch. Linkara, ghosts, gods, a universe in flux. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
The cover's fine, of course depicting some characters we'll be seeing in this issue, who I'll get to when they appear in the story, though I admit the all-white background is a little bland, though it does help the question mark that's been on these covers stand out more. Also, Uncle Sam down there pointing at us. Missed opportunity for them to have a speech balloon say, "I want you to solve it." Since, of course, the tagline of this series is, "Can you solve it before we do?" Which gets more ridiculous with each issue, because of course we can't. It's not really a mystery. It's you guys making up random contrivances to resolve each new cliffhanger. Anyway, we open with Dr. Fate recapping the events of the previous issue on a crystal ball.
You've got mail.
Oh hey, Power Rangers' 30th anniversary just happened at the time of this episode's release. My friends, observe the viewing globe! It's worse than I thought. He doesn't even have a History of Power Rangers video out to commemorate the occasion. Where even is the Dino Thunder remake? In New York City, several alien superheroes are about to be executed by hostile aliens. There are some that are going to be executed in New Jersey, but those ones are friendly. In Metropolis, gremlins prepare a special edition of the Daily Planet, uncovering a long-held secret. My god, they fed gremlins after midnight, and now they're revealing the Colonel's 11 herbs and spices! And high above, alien marauders invade the city. Clearly the forces of chaos are running rampant. I mean, he's not wrong when the prevailing attitude of the creators on each issue is, well, I don't have to resolve this, so I'm gonna do whatever. It's gonna be nothing but chaos. With that, he dons the Helmet of Fate and flies off to try to do something about all this. We also see the issue title, DC Challenge, Phase 5, is officially titled, If There's a Hole in Reality, Is Life a Cosmic Donut? No. It's a bagel. But we like to call it Thunderbolts and Lightning. Whoa, that's very, very frightening to me. Fate casts two spells that are sent off to do their thing while he flies away. We cut to Billy Batson as he works at Whiz TV as a newscaster, and I think there were some crossed wires at DC during this, especially in light of this issue coming out the same month as the final part of Crisis on Infinite Earths. The narration says that this is another New York on a world not our own, no doubt referring to the fact that Billy and his Captain Marvel persona pre-Crisis existed in an alternate universe, Earth S. But then he gets a special bulletin informing him that alien spaceships are currently attacking his New York as if it was the same as in Earth 1. Anyway, while his news crew switches to a live report of the invasion, he sneaks off to transform into Captain Marvel. However, when he yells Shazam, nothing happens. With the alien ships raining death down on New York, he quickly flees to the old subway tunnel where he first met the Wizard, just barely managing to get in without being shot by the aliens as pink lasers.
Too much pink energy is dangerous.
He passes by the 7 deadly enemies of man statues. You think the Wizard decorates those at Christmas time? I would. He summons the spirit of Shazam to his throne, but he's in bad shape.
I'm dying, Billy. Some evil force is sapping all the magic power in the universe.
Yes, that's totally what's going on. It's not that it's Sunday and I planned on sleeping in and I just don't feel like doing anything today. Ooh, evil is afoot, Billy. Now go away while I watch hockey and recover my strength. But yeah, with his power so drained, he can't transform Billy into Captain Marvel. We cut over to another New York City, across the multiverse. I don't begrudge the presence of the multiverse in this story. As I said in the first review, the point of this whole thing is to have these characters in a story before any of them were erased from continuity. But despite them saying in another universe, they're just treating the situation as if it's all one universe anyway, which we'll see again soon. Anyway, we're back with the alien superheroes about to be executed by the invaders. Mind you, this is kind of hilarious because Supergirl is here, who had been dead for months from Crisis on Infinite Earths. Yeah, obviously it takes place before that. I'm just amused that they were still publishing a book with her in it long after she was erased from existence.
I think it's very nice of you to give that dead woman another chance.
Jem, a lesser-known alien character, shoots out an energy beam from the jewel on his forehead to disable the machine projecting red sun radiation, allowing Superman and Supergirl to break free. While Superman distracts the invaders, Supergirl frees the others. Although oddly, she seems to free the Martian Manhunter first, despite him being the farthest away. Or maybe John freed himself and Kara really hates Starfire for some reason. And together, we'll show the world that these no-goods don't speak for all aliens. Meanwhile, over on Fox News, 50 stories about how Superman is wrong and they clearly speak for all aliens. We cut over to Los Angeles, where we meet Adam Blake, who's meditating in his apartment when suddenly an Ankh appears around his head. This is one of the spells Dr. Fate casts, some sort of communication with him. And I don't know, something about this looks kind of silly, like it's about to become a necklace or whatever. I know now what I must do. Adam Blake proceeds to go get lunch. No, opening up his closet, we learn that Adam is another slightly obscure DC character, Captain Comet. Captain Comet's never really gone away, but he's mostly been a DC space character despite being a superhero. His deal is that he's the opposite of an evolutionary throwback, an evolutionary throw forward, if you will, wherein he's what humanity will eventually evolve into, with many amazing abilities. And these abilities were unlocked when a comet passed over him as a child. Look, I didn't write this stuff, I'm just telling you what it is. Also, is it just me or is it kind of weird to see his costume like this? Like, it looks like a onesie or a Zentai suit instead of multiple pieces. Anyway, he flies off and we cut to the Australian outback, where Adam Strange arrives via Zeta Beam as per the last issue. Fortunately, he lands near a cache of his emergency supplies to get back into his suit, and right where another Zeta Beam is going to hit, so he should be able to return to Rann and all that's happening there. However, the second Dr. Fate spell arrives and once more goes around his head, this time conveying a message that swears his wife will be fine and he's needed elsewhere. He reluctantly agrees and flies away, the Zeta Beam missing him. Back in Metropolis, the aliens are continuing their invasion, a sight seen on TV by another obscure character. The man, Peter Cannon, watches the invasion from a mansion overlooking Metropolis. And seeing this frightful invasion of otherworldly forces, he decides there's only one thing to do.
Run away! Run away! Run away!
However, his assistant, Tabu, says that evil must be stopped, revealing a costume for him. Blast it, Tabu. I said it and I meant it. I'm never putting that costume on again. Wash it, Tabu. Just wash the damn thing once. That's all I ask. Civilization has made its bed. Now let it lie in it. I'm through with it. Oh boy, that line is going to be hilarious in a second when I explain who the hell this guy is. Taboo says that he wouldn't turn his back on innocent people, and Peter has to grudgingly admit that he's right. Moments later, a lithe figure in scarlet and blue shoots from the home of Peter Cannon like a human thunderbolt. Taboo decided to just wear it himself. No, Taboo's inside watching him leave. As you have realized, friend Peter, the superior man must ever broaden the scope of his responsibilities, to include the scope of his conscience, and the scope of his booty shorts. And gotta say, Peter, you are rockin' 'em. Okay, so who the hell is this guy? Oh boy. In case you're not familiar with him, this is Peter Cannon Thunderbolt, which, yes, is the full title for him. His books always had Peter Cannon Thunderbolt as the title. Side note, really kind of irritated by how many characters have lightning or thunder in their names when their powers have absolutely nothing to do with thunder or lightning or electricity or zapping people or whatever. I get why that is, but I keep running into it and I'm kind of annoyed by it. So what's his deal? Well, he's kind of had an interesting history. He's a Charlton character, part of the same Action Heroes line that the Ted Kord Blue Beetle, Captain Atom, and The Question were made for. However, originally his creator, Pete Morrissey, had hoped to buy the rights to a Golden Age character, Daredevil, who you can see punch Hitler a bunch of times in my first DVD, hint hint wink wink. He's also in the third volume too, but it's the first volume that has all the Hitler punching. The writer and artist for that line of Daredevil books, Charles Biro, wanted royalties on the character for future appearances, however, so Morrissey decided to just make his own character, take Daredevil and file the serial numbers off. He kept the two-toned costume idea, but gave him a much more boring mask and no pants. And no spiked belt either. Lame. But yeah, Morrissey created this character, who in his backstory learned ancient wisdom and power through sacred scrolls in a Himalayan lamasery to become super smart, some limited superpowers, and enhanced physical abilities. Being a Charlton character like the rest of the action hero line, he was bought up and brought into DC, wherein Alan Moore wanted to use him and the others for this little project he was working on, but instead they insisted that he create proxy characters instead. Yes, Peter Cannon, Thunderbolt, is the basis for Ozymandias in Watchmen. Just an ironically humorous twist that the character who himself was an XP of another character had an XP made of him in a much more popular and significant work. Oh, but the interesting things about him did not end there, because while DC tried a few times to make the character work in the DCU, it just never took off. But unlike the other members of the action hero line, Charlton didn't actually own the full rights to the character. Morrissey retained ownership of him while Charlton just published him. As such, after a failed series in the early 90s, the rights to Peter Cannon reverted to Morrissey. So yeah, this is actually a rare case of DC buying up a character, but then losing the rights to him. Morrissey died in 2003, but the character is owned by his estate and has had some stuff printed with him since then, and I find it all kind of fascinating. Especially when you consider that he is in Crisis on Infinite Earths, so he's still being reprinted in a DC book nowadays. But maybe they can get away with that because they don't actually show his face and only call him Thunderbolt there. That being said, George Perez said that he only drew him obscured like that because he didn't have much reference material for him and thought he was a speedster. Hence why Jay Garrick has to knock him out before he runs into the antimatter wall. Still, that does make me wonder if there are rights issues that keep books like DC Challenge from being reprinted, like with Circuit Breaker in the Marvel Transformers books, since as far as I know, DC Challenge has never been released in a trade paperback. Admittedly, it'd probably be a difficult read given what's been happening so far, but still. Also, Peter Cannon should be on Earth 4 with the other Charlton heroes, not in Metropolis, but as I said, despite the references to the multiverse, this seems to be ignoring all that. Anyway, with that tangent out of the way, back to the action. Dr. Fate arrives in Metropolis. The alien infestation is great, and while I cannot personally take a hand in this conflict, I may summon some who can. I can't personally get involved when aliens invade because of reasons, I guess, but I can totally summon other people to do it for me, which isn't getting involved personally, even though I'm the one who did the summoning. Man, these rules are confusing. And so he opens up a mystical portal to the past, I guess, because flying out of the portal come the Blackhawks, the recurring group of fighter pilots in DC history who fought weird Nazi robot stuff. They're all very confused about what's happening, but figure, hey, weird ship's attacking a city that can't defend itself. Let's open fire and then parachute down like this is the opening of the G.I. Joe animated movie. On the ground, some aliens corner some humans on the street. Pathetic humans, you gather neath that gaudy cloth, as though it will offer some protection. This is how much protection it affords. I don't know, seems to be doing a pretty good job of distracting you guys. Hey, that's the flag! Damn right it is! This is America! After stomping on the burning flag, who should show up to beat the crap out of the aliens but Uncle Sam? Who should also be on an alternate Earth. DC Challenge is one of those books where I get to remind people, oh yeah, Uncle Sam is an actual DC character, and he used to live in another dimension. The aliens run off.
See, they ain't so tough once you show them a little backbone.
So run right at them while they're aiming their guns at you. Still, the people are all in favor of fighting back against the alien invaders. Nearby, Peter Cannon is fighting off more aliens and demonstrating, indeed, that alien guns can still hurt you. Still, the Thunderbolt has a catchphrase, kind of a prayer or chant that exemplifies his mind over matter abilities that let him recover from the shot. Use force of will. I must do it. I can do it. I will do it! I love how this episode has kind of become an impromptu Secret Origins Month bit about this guy.
Suddenly, Peter Cannon is a man reborn, a man fighting with all the strength and stamina of his name. Peter Cannon has indeed become a Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolts, usually known for their stamina. While all these forces take on the aliens, the Gremlins decide to remind us of their cliffhanger, tossing off the newspapers out of a Daily Planet truck that reads that Clark Kent is Superman. So, what's our resolution to that? Peter Cannon picks it up and tosses it aside. Just another manifestation of all the strangeness going on, I guess. But what a waste of time. Who'd ever believe something as absurd as that? He's not talking about the Clark Kent thing. There's an article that says that all of Congress agreed to raise the minimum wage. Yeah, pretty silly resolution to that plot point, that people just don't believe it, or just don't care. Meanwhile, Dr. Fate flies to the Rock of Eternity. Dr. Fate and Shazam apparently hadn't actually met before, so the wizard doesn't recognize him. Still, everybody knows Shazam, thanks to his throne being helpfully labeled. The wizard wonders if Fate is there to replace him, since his strength is almost gone. No, Great One. A war is being waged between Outworlders who wish to destroy all magic, and savage monsters who desire to master science. The UN peacekeepers are doing their best, but they need our help. Fate uses his own magic to re-empower Shazam, which in turn allows Billy Batson to become Captain Marvel again. And not a moment too soon, since he had decided to take on the aliens with smoke bombs that had gotten shot. I guess they set things to tickle, since despite the guns before hurting Peter Cannon and setting a flag on fire, Billy just kind of falls over a bit. Still, he becomes Captain Marvel and is able to make swift work of the aliens on the ground. But how to stop all those ships? Why, take an underwater highway tunnel, crush one end, lift the entire thing out of the ground, and use it like a net to trap all the spaceships!
You magnificent bastard, I read your book!
This is just... What? And then he drops the closed tunnel at an army base? You know, DC Challenge has given us such hits as Bruce Wayne prefers Betamax to VHS to Aquaman bites into a vulture to drink its blood to stay hydrated. And this is where I think it's getting ridiculous! Captain Marvel travels to the Rock of Eternity and meets Dr. Fate, Shazam in turn sending him to go help the sorcerer on the planet Rann to continue the fight there. And I remind you that the invasion happening there of weird demons is Earth 1 again. Speaking of, Captain Comet and Adam Strange meet up in the fight against the aliens. As Captain Comet explains, Dr. Fate's idea was apparently having two science-oriented heroes fighting the aliens who have been trying to stop magic. However, the alien ships shoot some kind of special ray at the two, that look like all the energy beams they're normally shooting, and they find themselves sent into the other dimensional realm occupied by Deadman, Detective Chimp, and the unconscious humans. I'm Boston Brand, by the way. You won't believe this, but normally I'm dead, and yet they still made me come into work on the weekend. It's been a weird day for everybody, so they're not going to question it. Still, Deadman explains that some kind of cosmic imbalance has allowed him to be solid. The only way they can think of to escape the place is by leaping through one of the portals, but he doesn't know where they'll lead. However, a giant figure appears to confirm that jumping through one could mean death or salvation, revealing the emissary of whatever is behind this, the Antimatter Man! He's a somewhat minor Justice League villain. As the name implies, he's made of antimatter, and any matter he touches disintegrates. The other dimensional portals begin closing, keeping our heroes from escaping, and their guns are useless against him. And to top it all off, Deadman suddenly loses his corporeal status and can't be seen by the heroes, leading to our first cliffhanger. Over to Rann, Captain Marvel and Dr. Fate arrive to intervene against the demonic beings, reasoning that Rand's forces can deal with the aliens with their own science.
Suddenly, the demons turn their gazes skyward and begin uttering a chant the human tongue could not pronounce.
Wait, why are the demons singing Baby Shark? A warp hole opens up, revealing some kind of minor demon from the nether plane that grabs hold of our heroes. Dr. Fate advises not to struggle against it, since it'll make it stronger, and so our comic ends with the Sarlacc or whatever confirming that.
For Cthulhu has hungered for centuries, and only magical power can satiate me. Power such as yours!
See, you say that, but I bet his magic is all gamey and stuff. This issue is decent, but it feels a bit like filler. More than any other issue so far, this one feels like, okay, I'm just gonna grab a bunch of obscure characters and make them fight things. The plot doesn't really advance, it's just a lot more superheroes enter the action to fight off the aliens and get embroiled in events. The cliffhanger resolutions are fine, but the newspaper one feels pretty lazy that people are just, nah, that's dumb, let's just ignore it. We're not given any fresh insight into any of the foes and their goals, only that they don't like magic and they don't like aliens fraternizing with humanity. Maybe we'll get that answer in future issues, but this one is just, okay, let's have some more characters come in and punch things. None of it is bad, and for the third time this year, Dave Gibbons has had some of his work reviewed on the show. It's definitely a stronger showing of his artwork, and while I think some of the use of the Ankhs representing Dr. Fate's spells is kind of goofy, I can't say it isn't imaginative, especially using it as a portal. The DC challenge is just kind of waiting for a creator to come along and do something more with it. Next time, it's time to say farewell to an old friend. Someone who's been around since the early days. Yes, after 15 years, it's the final issue of US 1. Wait, do the Black Hawk planes actually make a noise that sounds like hawk? I don't know if that's dumb or awesome. Probably both.
Hello my friends, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon or purchase a t-shirt via Teespring or Shark Robot. Thanks for watching!